Maya Novak adjusted her ID badge for the third time that morning, the laminated card swinging awkwardly from the lanyard around her neck. Westlake International Airport Ground Services Division. It read in bold letters, with a grainy photo of her looking a little too serious. She tugged at her uniform shirt, still stiff from being brand new, and stared out at the endless stream of passengers lining up at check-in. It had only been 2 weeks since she started this job. 2 weeks of early shifts, late nights, lost luggage, crying kids, and irate flyers demanding upgrades she couldn't give. 2 weeks of learning which managers to avoid when they were in a bad mood, which TSA agents liked to gossip, and how to navigate the labyrinth of terminals without getting swallowed up in the chaos. At 20, Maya wasn't naive, but she also hadn't expected the airport to feel so much like high school. The cliques were everywhere. The ramp guys, the gate agents, the union crew, the maintenance techs, the security guards who joked loudly with the flight attendants in the break room. And then there were people like her, the new hires, the temps, the seasonal staff just trying to survive the summer rush. "Hey, newbie," a voice called from behind her. Maya turned. It was Aisha, one of the only people who'd been kind since she started. Aisha worked the night shift at the baggage service office, but always managed to look way more awake than Maya ever felt. "You're on gate rotation today?" Aisha asked, sipping from a Dunkin' iced coffee the size of her head. "Yeah," Maya nodded. "They've got me shadowing Vince's team." Aisha's smile faded. "Oh damn, watch your back, girl." Maya frowned. "Why? What's wrong with Vince?" Aisha leaned closer, lowering her voice over the buzz of boarding announcements. "Vince DeRosa's been here 5 years, thinks he owns the ramp, got the supervisors wrapped around his finger, likes to mess with new people, especially women. Word is, last summer he made a girl cry so bad she walked out mid-shift." Maya felt a pit form in her stomach. She'd heard similar stories at other jobs, other places. The names changed, the faces changed, the power plays stayed the same. "Thanks for the heads up," Maya said quietly. Aisha gave her a sympathetic look. "Stay under the radar, don't give him a reason." That was the plan. It had always been Maya's plan, ever since she was little. The quiet kid, the one moving every few years because of her dad's military career, the girl who sat in the back of the classroom and never raised her hand. Invisible was safe. Invisible didn't get hurt. Except invisible only worked for so long. "Let's go, Novak," another voice barked, this one sharp, commanding. She turned to see Vince, waving her over from gate B12. He had that cocky stance she'd seen in guys like him before. Aviators perched on his head despite being indoors, sleeves rolled up to show off his forearms, a confident smirk that didn't quite reach his eyes. Next to him stood Travis, built like a linebacker with a clipboard tucked under one arm, and Dylan, tall and lean with a permanent look of boredom. "Time to earn that paycheck," Vince called, flashing a grin. Maya swallowed hard and walked over, feeling Aisha's warning echo in her ears. As she approached, Vince looked her up and down, his smirk widening. Well, rookie. Hope you brought your hustle today. We don't babysit out here." "I'm ready," Maya said, keeping her voice steady. "Good," Vince said. "'Cause it's gonna be a hell of a shift. Hope you don't mind a little sweat," Travis chuckled lowly. "Or a few pranks. It's tradition." Dylan didn't speak, but his eyes locked onto hers in a way that made her skin crawl, like he was already imagining ways to test her. Maya forced a polite smile and adjusted her lanyard again. The plastic dug into her neck. "Let's go," Vince said, leading the way toward the tarmac access door. "We've got a delayed Southwest flight to turn around, and we're already 20 minutes behind schedule. Welcome to Westlake, Novak." As Maya followed them through the staff entrance, stepping into the roar of jet engines and the blinding sunlight bouncing off the tarmac, she took a slow, steady breath. Her dad's voice echoed in her head, a mantra from years of training. Stay calm, stay alert, stay in control. She was here to work. She wasn't here to make waves, but she had a sinking feeling waves were already coming. The sun baked the tarmac as Maya trailed behind Vince's crew, weaving between baggage carts, fuel trucks, and ground crews in neon vests. The air smelled of jet fuel and hot asphalt, and the roar of engines made every conversation a shouted exchange. "Rule number 1 out here," Vince called over his shoulder as they approached the Southwest gate. "Nobody's gonna hold your hand. You either keep up or you get left behind." Travis tossed a grin back at her. Hope you got some muscle under that uniform, Novak. This ain't a desk job. I'm fine, Maya said, keeping her pace steady, her heart thudding. She had plenty of muscle, just not the kind they expected. Years of jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and MMA training had left her wiry strong beneath her baggy uniform. But nobody needed to know that. The plane was already at the gate, passengers still disembarking. A ramp supervisor was arguing with a gate agent over a cargo discrepancy. Vince motioned to a stack of incoming baggage carts. Start unloading that bin, he ordered Maya. We'll catch up. Alone? She asked. Vince smirked. What, need a babysitter? Travis laughed as they walked away. Maya squared her shoulders and got to work, hauling bags from the belly of the plane onto the conveyor belt. Each suitcase felt heavier than the last under the midday heat, sweat soaking her undershirt. A tiny woman with dark hair passed by, watching sympathetically. Don't let 'em run you ragged, Mija, the woman said quietly before disappearing toward another gate. By the time she finished, her arms ached. Vince and the others strolled back, sodas in hand. Wow, you're still alive, Vince quipped. Didn't think you'd last. Nice hustle, Travis added, but the tone wasn't praise, it was amusement. Dylan said nothing, just stared with that same unreadable gaze. It kept her busy the rest of the shift, sending her on endless errands. Go grab zip ties from supply, check the lav cart status, go find the missing gate agent, each one a task that took her farther from the real work. By the end of the day, her feet throbbed, her back ached, and she was certain she'd been intentionally run in circles. In the locker room, she peeled off her uniform shirt and stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Her arms glistened with sweat, faint muscles standing out under the fluorescent lights. She quickly pulled on her sweatshirt before anyone else walked in. No need to give them more ammo. She heard laughter from the break room next door, Vince's voice, loud and cocky. Seriously, she thinks she's gonna last a week? Maya exhaled slowly. Not her first rodeo. Not the first time she'd been the target of the rookie hazing. But still, something about Vince's crew felt different. Not just jokes or harmless pranks, it was predatory. A notification buzzed on her phone. Aisha, survive day 1? Come find me at BSO if you need a safe zone. Maya smiled faintly at the message. She gathered her things and stepped out into the cooling evening, watching planes taxi across the runway under the setting sun. The roar of engines vibrated through her chest. Her father's words surfaced again, don't start fights, but never let them think you're an easy target. The question was, how long could she keep avoiding the fight? As she walked toward the employee lot, Vince and Travis watched from a picnic table outside the maintenance shed. She's tougher than she looks, Travis muttered. Vince smirked, sipping his soda. We'll see. Behind them, Dylan sat silent, his cold gaze following Maya until she disappeared into the shadows. The next few days at Westlake International were a blur of early alarms, aching muscles, and long hours beneath the roaring engines. Maya started to memorize the rhythms of the airport, the way the sunlight glared off the jet bridges at 7 a.m., the way the baggage belts rattled at a certain frequency when overloaded, the exact minute the Starbucks line in Terminal B got too long to risk. She also learned the unofficial rules, the rules nobody wrote down, but everyone followed. Don't question Vince's assignments. Don't ask for help unless you want attitude. Don't stand between Travis and the vending machine after a shift. Don't expect Dylan to talk unless it's a sarcastic remark or a cutting comment. And above all, don't complain. Thought you were tough, Novak, Vince said on her third day, tossing her a set of zip ties while she was crouched fixing a stuck luggage cart. Prove it. She'd already been running between gates since dawn, handling everything from missing gate tags to a pissed-off traveler who'd threatened to post a viral video of her for being unhelpful when she couldn't retrieve his late bag fast enough. I am tough, she replied, standing up and wiping grease on her pant leg. Good, Vince smirked. You're covering ramp check tonight? Hope you don't mind staying late. It wasn't her assignment, she knew that, but arguing would make it worse. Aisha caught up with her in the hallway, sipping from another giant iced coffee. They got you on double today? Maya nodded. Damn, girl, you know you can say no, right? Maya gave a small smile. And then what? They'd just make it worse tomorrow. Aisha sighed. Yeah, true. It wasn't just the physical exhaustion, it was the way Vince's crew watched her, like they were waiting for a crack, testing how far they could push. The teasing had started to shift, less funny, more cutting. "Look at those arms, Novak," Travis joked once as they loaded freight. "You hiding a gym membership we don't know about?" Maya kept her hoodie zipped up despite the heat. "I work out sometimes." "More than sometimes," Vince muttered, eyeing her biceps with a strange mix of amusement and suspicion. Dylan didn't say anything, but his gaze lingered, always watching. That night, as she walked alone through the dim baggage tunnels after her extended shift, a radio crackled somewhere down the hall. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead. She felt the weight of the empty space pressing in, so different from the loud chaos of the day. A sudden clang echoed from the metal door behind her. She turned sharply. Nothing, just a loading dolly knocked over, a loose strap hanging. Still, she quickened her steps, her boots thudding against the concrete until she reached the staff exit. Her hand hovered over her badge scanner, breath held. "Don't be paranoid. They're just messing with you." The next morning, Vince found her in the employee cafeteria, leaning over her oatmeal. "Rough night, Novak?" he asked, sliding into the seat across from her. She didn't answer. He grinned wider. "Look, don't take this personally. Everyone's got to prove themselves here. It's tradition. You're holding up better than most, honestly." "Great," she muttered. "But," he added, voice dropping conspiratorially, "you keep skipping out on crew night. That's not a good look." "I'm not much of a drinker," Maya replied. Travis dropped into the seat next to Vince, cracking open a Mountain Dew at 7:30 a.m. "She thinks she's better than us, Vince." Maya's jaw tightened. "That's not true." "Come on," Vince said, leaning forward, elbows on the table. "It's not about the drinking, it's about the team. You're not gonna last out here alone." "I'm here to work," Maya said, standing, "not to party." Vince's grin faded a fraction. "Suit yourself." As she walked away, she felt their eyes on her back, and that same sinking feeling in her gut. Her shift dragged, Vince piling on extra errands, sending her across terminals for things she later realized could have been handled over the radio. Each time she returned sweaty and breathless, he smirked knowingly. By midday, she was assigned to clean out a storage cage full of broken equipment near the freight docks. "Travis'll swing by to help you," Vince promised. An hour passed. No Travis. She texted Aisha, "They left me out here." Aisha, "Those assholes want me to tell a supervisor?" Maya stared at the blinking cursor, then typed, "No, I got it." She started hauling the broken cones and cracked chocks herself, piece by piece, sweat dripping into her eyes. By the time she finished, the sun had started to dip, casting long shadows over the loading bay. She trudged back to the main building, passing Vince and Travis laughing outside the maintenance shed, sipping sodas. "Hey, Novak," Vince called. "Didn't think you'd finish that today." "Yeah," Travis added. "We figured you'd give up." Maya kept walking. Behind her, Vince's voice followed. "Seriously though, you should hang out with us tonight. Little get-together. Celebrate surviving your first week." "No thanks," she said over her shoulder. Travis whistled mockingly. "She thinks she's too good for us." Dylan emerged from the doorway, expression unreadable. "Or maybe she's just smarter than us." The others laughed, but there was something sharper under Vince's smile as he watched her go. That evening, Maya sat cross-legged on the floor of her tiny apartment, wrapping her knuckles in gauze before starting her punching drills. Her garage back home had been converted into a training space, but here, she made do with resistance bands and a heavy bag she'd bolted to the ceiling beam. She struck over and over, each punch a release of the frustration that had been building all week. Her phone buzzed, a voicemail. It was Vince's voice. "Hey Novak, don't be lame. Come have a drink. Don't make us come find you." The words chilled her more than they should have. She hit the bag harder. Her dad's voice echoed in her mind. Sometimes not fighting takes more strength than fighting. But she was starting to wonder, how much longer could she keep walking away? Friday night at Westlake International was chaos. Flight delays stacked on top of cancellations. Announcements crackled over the PA system every minute. Families sprawled across the terminal floor, clutching neck pillows and charger cords, trying to make the best of a bad situation. Maya wiped sweat from her brow as she scanned a sea of unclaimed luggage at Baggage Claim C. The carousel had jammed twice in the last hour, and a growing crowd of frustrated passengers pressed closer to the belt. "Where's my bag?" a man demanded, waving his claim ticket in her face. "We're working on it, sir," Maya said, keeping her voice even. "It may have been routed to a different carousel." "Unacceptable," he snapped. "I've been waiting 30 minutes. Behind him, a toddler wailed, a woman cursed into her phone, and someone banged on the glass wall separating baggage from the carousel machinery. Maya forced a smile, radioed the office, and promised the man she'd follow up. She was getting used to being everyone's punching bag. She wasn't, however, getting used to Vince. He'd been hovering all shift, appearing behind her at random moments, tossing out digs disguised as advice. "Careful with those tags, Novak. Don't want another mishap." "You're still here? Thought you'd have quit by now." "You sure you're not hiding something under that hoodie?" Maya ignored him. "Or tried to." But each comment chipped a little deeper. Each smirk felt heavier. Aisha had warned her again that morning. "He's pushing your buttons," she'd said quietly while filling out a report. "Trying to see how far you'll bend." "I'm fine," Maya insisted. But was she? She wasn't sleeping well. The dark circles under her eyes deepened with each shift. Her phone buzzed constantly with voicemails she didn't return. Her workouts grew harsher, punishing. And still, Vince seemed unsatisfied. "Drinks tonight," he told her during their last assignment. "Me, Travis, Dylan, you're coming." "No thanks," Maya said, unclipping a cargo strap. Vince stepped closer. "It's not a question, Novak. We're a team. You want to work here? You bond with the team." "I don't drink." "Then don't drink, but you show up." His grin stretched wider. "Unless you're scared." She set her jaw. "I'm not scared, I just have plans." "What plans?" Travis called from the cart, smirking. "Deschanette, she's got a hot date or something." "Maybe she's too busy lifting weights," Vince joked. Maya yanked the strap tighter. "Harder than necessary." "Suit yourself," Vince said, but his tone held something colder beneath the charm. "But don't expect people to cover for you forever." She didn't answer. That night, Maya stayed late to finish filing paperwork the others had left undone. The office emptied out slowly, lights flickering off one by one until only the harsh glow of the maintenance corridor remained. As she left through the back exit, her footsteps echoed in the loading dock's empty expanse. A line of freight containers loomed like shadows under the security lights. Her T-card beeped at the staff gate. "Novak." She froze. Vince stepped out from behind a container, hands in his jacket pockets. Travis and Dylan emerged beside him, silhouettes in the half-light. "What do you want?" she asked, forcing calm into her voice. "You skipped out again," Vince said lightly. "Kinda rude." "I don't owe you anything," Vince chuckled. "That's where you're wrong." He stepped closer. Travis flanked her left. Dylan blocked her right. Maya's pulse kicked up. Her stance shifted instinctively, weight balanced on the balls of her feet. "Come on, Novak," Vince said. "We're just messing around. Were you so uptight? Let me go." Vince's grin faded. "Or what?" Travis laughed under his breath. "Gonna cry? Gonna run to HR?" "I said, let me go." "Relax," Vince said, his tone tightening. "We're just saying hi." Travis reached toward her shoulder. Before he touched her, Maya's body moved on its own. She pivoted, catching his wrist mid-reach, twisting it downward and stepping aside. Travis stumbled forward with a yelp. "What the hell?" Dylan lunged next. She sidestepped, grabbed his arm, used his momentum to spin him into the side of a container with a dull thud. Vince's eyes widened. "You little," he charged. Maya dropped low, swept his legs from under him, and watched him hit the concrete flat on his back, air rushing from his lungs in a wheeze. The whole encounter lasted under 10 seconds. She stood between their sprawled bodies, breathing steady, fists unclenched. "I said, let me go." Travis groaned, clutching his shoulder. Dylan scrambled up, staring at her like she'd sprouted wings. Vince sat up slowly, rubbing his ribs. "What the hell?" "I don't want trouble," Maya said quietly, "but I'm done playing games." She stepped around them, badge out, walking straight for the staff lot. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but adrenaline. Behind her, no one followed. In the driver's seat of her old Honda Civic, Maya sat with her head against the steering wheel, chest rising and falling fast. The adrenaline crash hit harder than the fight. For weeks, she'd held it in. The jokes, the errands, the smirks, the thinly veiled threats. She'd told herself it wasn't worth reacting, that ignoring them would make it stop. But it hadn't stopped, and now, she didn't know if she'd just ended it or escalated it. Her phone buzzed. Aisha, you okay? Vince's crew's acting weird. Maya stared at the message, then typed, I'm fine. She didn't hit send. Instead, she dropped the phone onto the passenger seat and leaned back, closing her eyes. Her dad's voice floated up from memory. Fighting should be your last resort, kiddo. Had she crossed that line? Or had she finally stopped running? Outside, a jet thundered down the runway, the night swallowing its roar. Inside, Maya's fist slowly unclenched. Tomorrow would come, and with it, consequences. But tonight, she wasn't afraid. The next morning, the airport felt different. Maya walked through the staff entrance with her badge clipped neatly to her shirt, her hoodie zipped tight against the chilly pre-dawn air. But as soon as she stepped into the break room, she felt the shift. Conversations stopped, heads turned, people stared. Aisha spotted her from across the room and hurried over, eyes wide. Girl, she whispered urgently. What did you do? Maya frowned. What do you mean? Vince's crew didn't show up for shift this morning, Aisha said. Word is they're suspended pending investigation. Maya's stomach flipped. Investigation? Aisha pulled out her phone. Apparently someone filed a formal complaint. HR's involved. Security's reviewing footage. People are saying you put all 3 of them on the ground outside the freight docks last night. Maya blinked. How? Security cameras, duh, Aisha said. There are cameras everywhere back there. Maya swallowed hard. She hadn't even considered that. The fight had felt like it existed in a pocket of isolation. Just her, them, the dark, the concrete. Aisha leaned closer. Is it true? You took all 3 of them? Maya hesitated. I defended myself. Damn, Aisha murmured. You're kind of a legend right now. I didn't want this. I know. Aisha squeezed her arm, but maybe it needed to happen. Maya wasn't sure. As they clocked in, she noticed more glances in the hallways. Some were impressed, some wary, some curious, but none dismissive. For the first time since she started, no one called her rookie. No one sent her on pointless errands. No one tried to pile extra work on her desk. It was eerie. Later that morning, a call came over the staff PA system. Maya Novak, please report to Human Resources Level 3. Aisha's eyes widened. That's you. Maya exhaled slowly. Guess so. Want me to come with? No, Maya said. I've got it. She walked upstairs, palms sweating despite the air conditioning. HR was tucked in a quiet corner of the administrative wing, past a row of frosted glass doors and motivational posters about teamwork. Inside, a woman in a navy blazer gestured toward a seat across from her desk. Miss Novak, the woman said, her tone polite but formal. I'm Miss Ruiz, Employee Relations Manager. We've received a report regarding an altercation last night involving you and 3 other employees. Maya nodded silently. I'd like to hear your account of what happened. Maya took a deep breath and told her everything. Not exaggerating, not downplaying, just the facts. The weeks of harassment, the pressure. The cornering, the unwanted touch, the reaction. I didn't go looking for a fight, Maya concluded quietly, but I wasn't going to stand there and let it happen. Ms. Ruiz listened carefully, jotting notes, her face unreadable. Thank you for your honesty, she said at last. I've reviewed the security footage. It aligns with your statement. Maya's shoulders sagged slightly. You should know, Ms. Ruiz continued, that what you experienced falls under workplace harassment and intimidation, possibly extending to assault. We take these matters seriously. The 3 individuals involved have been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. Maya blinked. I'm not in trouble? Not for defending yourself, Ms. Ruiz said. However, I would strongly encourage you to document any further incidents and report concerns to management or HR immediately in the future. I didn't want to be a problem, Maya admitted. You're not the problem, Ms. Ruiz said firmly. They are. Maya let that sink in. There's one more thing, Ms. Ruiz added. A few employees have approached us requesting a self-defense workshop. They said they heard you're uniquely qualified. Maya gave a tired laugh. Word travels fast. We'd be interested in sponsoring it, Ms. Ruiz said, if you're willing. Maya hesitated, then nodded. I'd like that. By lunch, the story had spread like wildfire. She flipped Travis over her shoulder. Someone whispered in the hallway. No, she swept Vince's legs out like in a UFC fight, another said. I heard Dylan's arms in a sling. Maya ate quietly in the break room, Aisha beside her, trying to ignore the chatter. But inside, she felt lighter, not because they admired her, but because the weight of hiding was finally gone. I'm proud of you, Aisha said softly. Maya smiled faintly. Thanks. Across the cafeteria, a familiar figure hesitated by the door. Vince? He wasn't in uniform. His usual swagger had dulled. He held an envelope in his hand. Their eyes met. After a beat, he walked over. Can I talk to you? He asked. Aisha tensed beside Maya. You sure you want to? It's fine, Maya said. They stepped outside into the quiet of the staff smoking area. Vince shoved his hands in his jacket pockets. I'm not good at this, he started. Maya folded her arms. What do you want? I wanted to say I'm sorry. She stared at him. I didn't think we were going that far, Vince said. It was just hazing at first, just messing around, but then it stopped being funny, didn't it? Maya said nothing. I've been here 5 years, Vince continued. Long enough to think I knew everything, but I didn't know how to stop once it went too far. You could have stopped, Maya said quietly. Anytime. I know. Vince's shoulders slumped. That's on me. They stood in silence. You didn't deserve it, Vince said finally. None of it. Maya studied him. For the first time, he looked smaller, not weak, just human. I don't know if I forgive you, she said, but I appreciate the apology. Vince nodded. Fair enough. He handed her the envelope. HR's making me take some mandatory workshops. Guess that's fair too. Maya opened it after he left. Inside was a folded note. Thanks for waking me up. V. That evening, Maya stood in an empty conference room setting up mats for the first self-defense class. Aisha helped unroll them. You nervous? Aisha asked. Maybe a little. Don't be, Aisha smiled. You're the bravest person here. As the first few women trickled in, Maya felt something shift inside her. She wasn't invisible anymore, and maybe that wasn't so bad. Maya wiped her hands on her pants, staring down at the rows of mats spread across the conference room floor. It didn't look like much, but to her, it was a battlefield. Not a place to fight others, a place to teach them to fight for themselves. The door opened again. Aisha entered, followed by a trio of women from the baggage department. Behind them, a customer service agent, a ramp crew member, and even one of the TSA officers Maya recognized from Checkpoint 6. By the time the clock hit 6, there were more than a dozen people filling the room, some chatting nervously, others standing awkwardly near the walls. I didn't think this many would come, Maya admitted to Aisha. Word got around fast, Aisha said with a grin. Apparently, taking down Vince, Travis, and Dylan in under a minute makes you a legend. Maya winced. I didn't want to be a legend. Too late, girl. The door creaked again. Maya turned and froze. Vince stood in the doorway, hands in his jacket pockets, eyes uncertain. I heard about the class, he said. Figured you might need someone to, demonstrate? Maya blinked. Aisha raised her eyebrows. You volunteering as the punching bag? Vince gave a crooked smile. Guess I owe it. Maya studied him a moment longer, then nodded. All right, she said. Take your shoes off. Let's start. The room grew quiet as Maya stepped onto the mat. Before we begin, she told the group, I want you to understand something. This isn't about becoming fighters. It's about believing you have the right to stand up for yourself. She let that sink in. Sometimes the world doesn't give you that space, she continued. Sometimes you have to claim it. A few women nodded. Others simply watched, eyes wide. She turned to Vince. Let's demonstrate a basic wrist grab escape. Vince stepped forward, holding out his hand hesitantly. Maya smiled faintly. It's okay. He grabbed her wrist, not tight, not aggressive. Maya twisted her hand outward, leveraging the weak point in his grip, and stepped away cleanly. The group murmured. Now try it, she told them. Soon the room buzzed with practice partners, laughter mixing with focused concentration. Maya walked among them, correcting stances, offering encouragement, occasionally demonstrating again with Vince. Didn't expect to be the model student, huh? She teased him quietly after the third time he hit the mat. I deserve it, Vince admitted, rubbing his elbow. You're learning. Trying. Over the next hour, something shifted in the air. Maya watched the women's shoulders square, watched the hesitation fade from their movements, watched confidence begin to bloom. She felt it blooming in herself too. By the end of class, sweaty and smiling, the group gathered their things, chatting excitedly about coming back next week. Thank you, Maya, one woman said earnestly, gripping her hand. I didn't realize how much I needed this. Me neither, another added. Vince hung back as the others left. You're good at this, he said. Maya shrugged, feeling shy despite herself. It's just something my dad always taught me. Vince hesitated. I wish I'd had someone like that. Maya looked at him thoughtfully. You can still be someone like that. He blinked. You don't have to stay the guy you were, she added. You can be better. He gave a slow nod. I'm trying. I know. He offered his hand. Maya shook it. Truce? He asked. For now. He chuckled. Fair enough. As Maya packed up the mats, Aisha leaned against the doorway, watching her. You're really something. You know that? Aisha said. Maya paused. I'm just trying to survive. Not anymore, Aisha corrected. You're thriving. Maya thought about that as they walked out together into the cool night air, the runway lights twinkling like distant stars. For the first time since she'd started at Westlake International, she didn't feel small, didn't feel invisible. She felt strong. Not because she could fight, but because she'd chosen when to fight. And now, she was choosing how to lead. As they crossed the employee lot, Maya spotted a familiar figure waiting near her car. Travis. He looked awkward, hands stuffed in his hoodie pockets, rocking back and forth on his heels. Hey, he called when he saw her. Maya approached cautiously. Aisha gave him a wary look. You want backup? I'm okay, Maya said. Aisha nodded, heading to her own car. Maya stopped a few feet from Travis. What's up? He scratched the back of his neck. Look, I wanted to say I'm sorry, for everything, for that night, for being part of all of it. Maya stayed silent. I was an asshole, Travis admitted. No excuse. I got a sister, you know? She just started working ticketing. If anyone treated her the way I treated you. He swallowed hard. I don't want her to have to learn to fight back, he said. I want to be better, so she doesn't have to. Maya's gaze softened. She's lucky to have you thinking that way. I wasn't before, he said quietly. She gave a small nod. Then prove it, every day. I will. He offered his hand. Maya shook it. No hard feelings? He asked. Maya considered. Getting there. He smiled faintly. Good enough. That night, as she stood in front of her bathroom mirror peeling off her wraps, Maya stared at her reflection. The girl in the mirror wasn't hiding anymore. Her hoodie lay folded on the chair. Her arms, strong and scarred and earned, gleamed under the soft light. She ran her fingers over her forearm, tracing the faint line of an old training injury, the calluses from hours gripping mats, the subtle curve of muscle. Not a flaw, not something to hide. A badge of every battle fought, inside and out. And as she turned off the light, she felt lighter than she had in years. Tomorrow, the fight would go on. But tonight she wasn't fighting. Tonight, she was free. Westlake International felt different now. Not overnight, not in dramatic ways, but in the small, steady shifts that mattered. It showed in the way the break room quieted when someone made a crude joke and the way nobody laughed anymore. It showed in the signs HR posted across the staff areas, zero tolerance for harassment, speak up, we're listening. It showed in the quiet glances Maya got in passing, not mocking, not dismissive, but respectful. Cautious sometimes, but respect all the same. Her self-defense class had doubled in size by the second week. The conference room couldn't hold them anymore, so the safety officer got approval for a space in one of the old hangars. Maya stood under the cavernous ceiling one Thursday evening, mats spread across the concrete floor, rows of women stretching and practicing moves under her guidance. Aisha stood by the entrance, counting sign-ups. 42 this time, she told Maya. Words getting around. Maya wiped sweat from her brow. Didn't think it'd get this big. You started something, Aisha said, beaming. You gave people permission to stop being scared. Maya looked around at the women. Some young, some middle-aged, some wearing janitorial uniforms, some wearing neon ramp vests, one even still in TSA blues. They weren't fighters, but they were learning to stand their ground, and that mattered. After class, as she packed up the mats, Vince lingered by the door, sipping a Gatorade. You know, he said, HR offered me some volunteer hours for showing up to these. Maya raised an eyebrow. You're getting credit? Hey, I'm still here, aren't I? He said with a grin. Letting you throw me around in front of everyone? That's gotta count for something. She chuckled despite herself. You're a good teacher, he added more seriously. Better than most of the managers around here. Maya paused. You think they'll actually change things? Vince leaned against the doorframe, thoughtful. Some will, some won't, but people are watching now, and that matters. He hesitated. You made them pay attention. Maya didn't quite know how to answer that. so she just nodded. Later that night, as she crossed the employee parking lot under the glow of tall sodium lights, she spotted Travis waiting by her car again. "Don't worry," he said quickly as she approached. "Not here to bug you." Maya gave him a look. He raised his hands. "Just wanted to let you know, I signed up for therapy." She blinked. "Yeah?" "Yeah." He shoved his hands in his hoodie pockets. "Union's got a program, cheap sessions. Figured couldn't hurt." "That's good, Travis." "I didn't like who I was turning into," he admitted. "Didn't even realize it until you knocked some sense into me, literally." She laughed softly. "I'm trying," he added. "Might take a while." "You're doing the work," Maya said. "That's what counts." He gave a lopsided smile. "You're a better person than me." "No," Maya corrected gently. "Just someone who's been fighting a little longer." By the third week, even Dylan showed up to class, quietly, awkwardly, standing at the back with his arms folded. "Didn't think you'd come," Maya said when she spotted him. "I suck at this stuff," Dylan muttered. "But figured if everyone else is here." He didn't finish, but he stayed. And for the first time, Maya saw him smile. Not the sharp, mocking one, but a quiet, genuine one when he finally nailed a shoulder throw during practice. It wasn't a perfect transformation. There were still bad days, still whispers, still the occasional sideways glance from old-timers who thought things were better before all these rules. But there was also a new kind of strength threading through the staff. A quiet refusal, a shared resilience. Maya wasn't naive enough to think she'd fix the system, but she'd cracked something open. And maybe that was enough. At the end of the month, HR hosted a meeting for frontline staff, something they never used to do. Miss Ruiz stood at the front, flanked by safety officers and a few managers. "We want to hear from you," she told the room. "About what's working, about what needs to change." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then a ramp agent raised her hand. "We need more reporting channels that aren't just our supervisor," she said. "Sometimes the problem is the supervisor." Several people nodded. "I want more bystander training," another woman added. "Not just self-defense, but how to step in when we see it happening." Someone else spoke up, and another. The floodgates opened, and as Maya sat near the back listening, a strange feeling bloomed in her chest. Not pride exactly, something quieter. Hope. After the meeting, as she packed her things, Miss Ruiz approached her. "I hear the workshops are going well," Miss Ruiz said. "They're growing faster than I expected," Maya admitted. "Good. I'd like to propose something." Maya looked up. "I'd like to make them official," Miss Ruiz said. "Put them on the training calendar, paid hours, expand them to other terminals, maybe even partner with the union." Maya blinked. "You're serious?" "Very," Miss Ruiz smiled. "You've done something here, Miss Novak. We'd like to help it keep growing." Maya hesitated. "I never planned to be that person." "I know." Miss Ruiz's smile widened. "Sometimes the best leaders don't." She handed Maya a business card. "Think about it." As Maya walked out into the fading evening light, she turned the card over in her fingers. "Self-Defense Program Coordinator," it read under her name. She wasn't sure what came next, but for the first time in a long time, she was ready. The first official workshop under the new program launched 2 weeks later. It wasn't just employees from her terminal this time. Staff from other parts of the airport filtered into the hangar, ticketing agents, cargo handlers, cleaning crews, even a couple of security guards off shift. Maya stood near the mats, clipboard in hand, watching the room fill. The giant banner overhead read, "Empowerment through Defense. A safer Westlake starts here." Aisha approached, sipping her ever-present iced coffee. "You seeing this?" Aisha grinned. 100 people signed up. Maya shook her head, amazed. "I never thought it'd get this big." "Told you you're a legend." Aisha teased. Maya gave a wry smile. "Not sure I want to be a legend." "You didn't ask to be," Aisha said gently, "but you earned it." Maya glanced around the room, taking it all in. Across the mats, Travis stood helping his sister Lily adjust her stance. Lily beamed up at him, proud and confident. Travis caught Maya's eye, gave her a small nod of thanks. In another corner, Dylan knelt beside a newer trainee, patiently demonstrating a hold. For the first time since she'd met him, his usual guarded posture was gone, replaced by quiet encouragement. And Vince? He stood at the edge of the mats, holding a practice pad while a petite gate agent threw precise strikes. He caught Maya watching and grinned. "You sure you don't want to come over here and show him how it's really done?" he called. I'll leave you to it, Maya called back, laughing. The shift was undeniable, not perfect, not total, but real. As the class wrapped, Miss Ruiz stopped by with a visitor, a man in a tailored blazer and Westlake International badge. Maya, Miss Ruiz said, this is Mr. Bennett, VP of Operations. Mr. Bennett offered a firm handshake. I've been hearing a lot about you. Good things, I hope, Maya said carefully. Very good, he smiled. Miss Ruiz showed me the numbers. You've doubled workshop participation in 3 weeks. Incident reports are down 30% in your terminals. Maya's eyebrows rose. I'd like to propose expanding your program to the entire airport, Mr. Bennett continued. Paid time, dedicated facility, cross-department access. Maya's breath caught. That's huge. You're making Westlake better, he said simply. We'd be fools not to support that. He handed her another business card. Think about it, he said. As he and Miss Ruiz left, Aisha bumped Maya's shoulder playfully. Look at you, Aisha teased. Boss lady moves. Maya stared at the card, heart pounding. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She wasn't just teaching. She was building something. That night, Maya sat cross-legged on the floor of her apartment, phone pressed to her ear. Her father's voice crackled through the line. Dad, she said softly, I need to tell you something. And she told him. About the harassment, about the fight, about the class, about everything. She braced for disappointment. But when he finally spoke, his voice was steady, proud. Maya, he said, you didn't just defend yourself. You stood up for everyone who couldn't. A lump formed in her throat. I taught you to fight so you'd never have to be afraid, he continued. But you learned something even stronger. What's that? She whispered. You learned how to make others feel safe. She closed her eyes, letting his words settle deep. I'm proud of you, kiddo, he said. She smiled softly. Thanks, Dad. A week later, she found a small envelope taped to her locker. Inside was a keychain, a miniature pair of brass knuckles, shiny and silver. Attached was a folded note. To the girl who taught us how to fight back. Thanks for the wake-up call. V, T, and D. Maya ran her thumb over the cool metal. She clipped it to her work lanyard. And when she walked through the terminal that day, her head held high, her stride steady, she felt something she hadn't felt since her first day at Westlake International. Not invisible. Not afraid. Not small. She felt ready. Outside, a jet roared down the runway, lifting into the sky. Maya paused at the window, watching it ascend into the clouds. She smiled. She wasn't going anywhere. Not yet. There was still work to do. And this time, she wasn't standing alone. 6 months later, Westlake International was not the same airport. Sure, the planes still landed late. Luggage still got lost. Passengers still yelled about missed connections. But under the surface, something had shifted. You could see it in the way staff checked in on each other. In the way new hires were paired with mentors instead of being thrown to the wolves. In the bright blue flyers posted in every break room, self-defense and empowerment workshops, Tuesdays and Thursdays, open to all employees. Learn, protect, empower. Maya stood at the front of the old hangar-turned-training space, watching as a group of 25 women practiced their moves. The mats stretched farther now, upgrade from the original worn-out set. A mirror had been installed along one wall. A battered punching dummy stood proudly in the corner, sporting a staff ID badge as a joke. Aisha jogged over, wiping sweat from her forehead. Another full class, Aisha grinned, and I already have a wait list for next month. Maya smiled, pride swelling quietly in her chest. Looks like we're gonna need a bigger space. Or more instructors, Aisha suggested. Maya glanced toward the mats. Vince was helping a trainee practice a wrist escape. Travis spotted from behind, making sure no one stumbled. Dylan stood by the wall, sketching diagrams on a whiteboard, explaining leverage points. They're better teachers than they realize, Maya mused. Aisha nudged her, maybe because they learned from the best. Maya chuckled softly. After class, Vince approached, carrying a clipboard. Hey, he said, a little sheepishly. Don't laugh, but I'm applying to be a certified instructor. There's an official course next month. Maya raised an eyebrow. Really? Yeah. Vince rubbed the back of his neck. Figured if I'm gonna keep helping here, I should, know what I'm doing. She smiled. I'm proud of you. Vince grinned. Thanks, Novak. He glanced over his shoulder. Also, got a call from HR. They want to talk to you. About? Something big, Vince said. Miss Ruiz didn't say details, just that they want you to come by tomorrow. The next day, Maya sat across from Miss Ruiz in the HR office, same as she had months ago. Except this time it wasn't fear twisting in her stomach. It was curiosity. "We've been reviewing the impact of your program," Miss Ruiz began. "Incident reports have continued to drop. Employee retention is up. Feedback is overwhelmingly positive." Maya folded her hands in her lap. "I'm glad." "We'd like to formalize your role," Miss Ruiz continued. "Not just as a workshop leader, as a campus-wide coordinator for workplace safety and empowerment training." Maya blinked. "That's a real position?" "It is now," Miss Ruiz smiled. She slid a formal offer letter across the desk. "Your leadership changed something here, Maya," she said gently. "We want to make sure it keeps going." Maya stared at the letter. Her name printed at the top, her new title in bold. Coordinator, leader. She swallowed hard. "I never planned to be in charge." "Sometimes leadership chooses you," Miss Ruiz said quietly. Maya traced her finger over the paper, feeling the weight of it settle into her chest. Not heavy, but solid. Real. That evening, Maya stood by the terminal windows, watching planes taxi under the sunset sky. Passengers wheeled bags, flight crews hustled by. Kids pressed faces to the glass. A little girl tugged at her mother's hand nearby. "Mom, look! It's her," the girl whispered. The mother looked up, puzzled. "Who, honey?" "The strong lady," the girl pointed. "The one from the posters." Maya smiled softly. The girl waved shyly. Maya waved back. In the staff lounge, Travis flipped through the latest employee newsletter. "Look at this," he whistled, holding up the center spread. A full-page feature. A photo of Maya mid-demo, arms strong, stance solid. The headline read, "One voice, many ripples. How one employee sparked a culture shift at Westlake International." "Not bad, Novak," Vince grinned. "Big time," Isha added, sipping her iced coffee. Dylan smirked faintly. "Guess you're stuck with us now." Maya rolled her eyes affectionately. "Guess I am." She glanced around at them, once the people she feared most, now her team, her friends, her family in a way. Not perfect people, not perfect journeys, but willing to grow, willing to stand up, willing to be better. And that mattered. As she left the lounge, keychain glinting from her lanyard, Maya walked the terminal with her head held high. No hoodie, no shrinking, no hiding, because she'd earned her place here, not by winning every fight, but by choosing which fights mattered, by showing others how to fight for themselves, and by believing, finally, that she belonged. A departing jet soared overhead, silhouetted against the deepening twilight, and Maya smiled, steady, strong. She wasn't going anywhere. Not anymore. She was exactly where she was meant to be.